Here we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's presentation. Discover the easy to implement marketing system that automatically generates new guests. Okay, it'll generate some return guests too, but we're really here to talk about customer acquisition. Now, I want to give a very quick shout out to my team at Branded Strategic for helping to promote this webinar. Could be how you found out about it. We also want to say thanks to Marquee and Targetable for making this webinar happen. Now, we're going to be on here 45 or 50 minutes. And before this webinar ends, we all promise you that we'll show you an effective and inexpensive way to easily institute a scalable acquisition marketing program. Scalable, easy to use, bring in new guests. This strategy, it's going to work to generate more guests for each of your locations, and it will not require a large team of people to manage or execute it. I know that sounds like a dream, but trust me, it's coming. Okay. Now, stay to the end. There's a couple of reasons. Obviously, lots of great content coming at you that we don't want you to miss out on. But also, we're going to have a full Q&A at the end. We're going to go fast. We're going to throw a lot at you. You're going to have questions. I want you to be able to stick around. And I can already see some questions coming in. So if you have questions throughout the webinar, put them in the Q&A. We'll get to the end. And lastly, you've been on a webinar here with us before. You know that you get a special gift if you stay to the end that's going to help you with your business. All right? Sound good, everybody? Listen. Here's the goal for our webinar, okay? By the end of this presentation, you'll know an effective and inexpensive way to easily institute a scalable acquisition marketing program. More guests through your door. That's what we want. More guests, plates and orders, okay? This strategy will work to generate more guests for each of your locations, and it will not require a large team to manage or execute. Does that sound good, Andrew?
Sounds perfect.
That sound good, Avi?
Perfect.
Awesome. Pedro, Ray, Walt, does that sound good? Everybody sound good? Ashok says, yes, awesome, good. That's what we want you to do. CJ says it sounds good to him, killers. CJ knows all about this. All right, guys, please allow me to, if you do not know him, to introduce Avi Goren, co-founder and CEO of Marquee. Avi has been focusing exclusively in local SEO menu management for the past 8 years. That's not a joke, it's really true. He is a former Yelp employee and has been working with hospitality groups to better improve their digital operations and review strategies. Avi, welcome.
Appreciate it, Rev. As always, thanks for having me.
My sincere pleasure. I once ate a donut in the shape of your logo, which is something we also have in common with our next co-host here. I want to introduce Andrew Nash, CEO of Targetable. Andrew is a serial entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in e-commerce, digital marketing, and analytics. And he is an 8-time CEO. I think there's a belt for that, maybe a victory cup. I'm not sure. Or
yeah, black belt. Black belt.
There you go. It's a belt. All right, there you go. Andrew has led technology enterprises, including multiple startups in the US, in Europe, in Asia, in South America, Australia, New Zealand. He serves on the boards of multiple early stage technology companies, and he's the founder and CEO of Up Over Ventures. Andrew, welcome.
Rev, great to be here. Thanks for including me.
Always a pleasure, always. I always learn a lot from both of you, so I'm excited to talk today. And if you don't know me, my name is Rev Ciancio. I used to own a bar in New York City, certainly not as exciting as these other two guys, but I do know exactly how hard it is to market and brand a location-based business. I'm now a hospitality marketing consultant, and I help restaurants just like you to raise awareness, acquire, and retain customers through digital marketing, social media, and the use of incredible software. More than 20 years experience in branding and marketing and hospitality, and I've worked with, no joke, hundreds of restaurants to help them and attract, retain more guests. Now, today, we are here to talk about, okay, an effective and inexpensive way to easily institute a scalable acquisition program that's gonna work for your business. It's gonna be awesome. And for some reason, it's coming off my screen. All right, you guys can still see my screen?
We can still see it.
Killer. All right, Avi, let's start with this. Can you please tell us a little bit about Marquee?
Absolutely. So Marquee is here to provide an easy button for managing your menus and key customer-facing information, whether it's hours of operation, holiday hours, takeout and delivery information, photos with captions, review response, and everything else consumers could possibly be trying to find out about you. Everywhere consumers are searching. It's not just about Google. It's the entire consumer journey and behavior. They're searching on 80+ different sites, and you need to be found correctly everywhere. Now, by having your data consistent on all of these sites, you're going to see a bump on your local SEO. This is applicable to both brick and mortar and ghost kitchen concepts.
Love it. That is awesome. Lots of restaurants using this. All right, now, Andrew, your turn. Can you please tell us just a little bit about Targetable?
Yeah, Targetable, we come up with the concept of what we call do it for me marketing, not because we don't think that you're brilliant and can't do it yourself. We think you've got better things to do, like, maybe look after your guest experience, make sure that's a killer experience. So Turns out the world of digital marketing is actually very complex. The rules change every single day. So we built a very simple do-it-for-me marketing platform, which essentially we will build the ads, build the creative, do the targeting strategy. More importantly, unlike an agency, if you work with an agency, the first question an agency will ask you is, what's your ad spend budget? Our first question is always, what technology stack are you using? What's your order system? What's your point of sale system? What's your guest relationship management system? What's your loyalty system? And what we're going to do is align the technology and the digital marketing and advertising to whatever it is that you have to make sure that we can optimize and get the customer through the journey the quickest possible way, and then set up for the most cost-effective marketing in the future once we transition from acquisition marketing to loyalty and retention marketing. We cover all the digital platforms, both on a paid and an organic basis. And if you ask us nicely, we'll come and help fix the keyboards and whatever you need at the store as well. We're the geeks and the nerds, and we'll turn up with screwdrivers if we have to.
God bless, I might need that here. So if you do Windows, it's a done deal. I'll send you a message. Jay, Hadley, Gordon, Jimmy, want to make sure this sounds good to you and everybody else. Again, open up the chat, get interactive with us, telling yes, put your hand up, get involved here. All right, guys, let's rip into this. Let's talk about it, okay? We are here to talk about the customer journey, okay? We are talking about how do you acquire new guests, right? How do we make sure that our current guests have what they need when they want to dine with us again, okay? The customer journey for a restaurant is not linear. It has lots of touch points, which is what you're seeing in the screen. It's intended to look like a mess because it kind of is, okay? Someone could find out about your brand on Google while searching for what they crave, or they could see it in a friend's Instagram stories, or they might see it and learn about it on Facebook. There are lots of ways for a person to discover your brand. And from that point, it's usually not one more click to make an order or reservation, okay? There's lots and lots of steps in the customer journey, especially in the online world, okay? And to make sure that you capture the lead, right, and to not have a leaky bucket, you have to make sure that you are set up to convert at each and every stage. Now, what were to happen during my customer journey, okay, or if any guest went online and they got the incorrect hours, okay? What if I can't figure out how to make a reservation? What if I can't find your menu? What if your social media hasn't been updated in a month? Your photos just actually aren't appetizing at all. And then you never ask me for feedback after I dine there, okay? Do you think that the next time I'm looking for somewhere to eat, I'm gonna choose your restaurant again? Look at how hard you've made it for me. Okay. Do you think other customers who've never dined with you would choose your restaurant over another when its scenario looks like this? Okay. The point here is, guys, you cannot ignore any of the parts of the journey. Okay. So this starts up to bring up some very, very specific questions and some very, very specific scenarios that we're going to address here today. Okay. Now they say it's all about location. And I was joking yesterday with Stephen Van Note from Sarah Beth's. He's like, oh, I pay marketing. It's called rent. Right. And while location certainly is true, it is in a town like New York City, right? If you have lots and lots of locations, it's really hard to market at the location level. We can't all be Sarah Beth's, okay? Right? Not every Sarah Beth's is a Sarah Beth's. But here's the thing. How do you optimize the customer journey for every single location, no matter how somebody finds out about your restaurant? We need to know, okay? Now, the next thing that we start thinking about, right, is how do you help that one store? Let's say that you have one store or a couple of stores that are just struggling to acquire new guests. It's working over here, but it ain't working over here. I hear about this all the time. I was talking to somebody that owns 12 locations across the US yesterday. No problem, 11 locations. The store in Hoboken, he's like, I'm lost. I have no idea. Hopefully he's on this webinar, okay? How do you help that one store? And lastly, here's another scenario we're gonna talk about today, is how do you successfully market the opening of a new store? Really complicated, lots you can do. Most people used to just hire a PR team and hope that, you know, their version of the New York Times writes about it, but it's not really guaranteed anything these days. Here's the thing, okay? When we talk about all this, we talk about location, we want to be able to do it all on a scalable level without wasting countless hours and piles of dollars on marketing, right? Isn't that what we all want to know? We want to make it easy. Does everybody want to make it easy? Again, you can put your hand up in Zoom. You can say yes in the chat. I guess if you just want to bob your head at the screen, you can do that too. Pedro is all about it. All right, guys, here's the thing, okay? You have too many options. There are too many things to do, okay, outside. And this is just marketing, right? Social media, it's a great way to reach a large audience with one message, right? And emails are great for one-to-one communication, you know, if you have your customer's email address. Billboards, right, can be seen by thousands of people a day. Radio, super large reach, but it's expensive. And does anybody actually listen to the radio anymore? I don't. I literally am so psyched I don't have it in my car anymore. I literally don't. Okay. TV, well, I guess it works if you have Super Bowl ad dollars. Most people are watching Netflix. Okay. I haven't watched actual TV. I couldn't tell you when. Okay. I did watch Squid Game though. We can talk about that at another time. Oh my God, what a crazy series. Anyway, no commercials. Here's the other thing: Facebook, Instagram ads, really, really cheap. Okay. But have you ever tried to run a dynamic campaign for multi-locations? The amount of time and effort it takes to do on a store-by-store basis with advertising on social, it requires an entire team of engineers or really expensive agency. Okay, guys, I'm making this seem complicated because it actually is. Okay, and this is why multi-unit brands struggle with brick and mortar location-based marketing. It is really hard to do at scale, especially when the needs of your stores are different from market to market. Okay, marketing is hard. It is tedious. We won't take that away from it. It is true. It's a lot of the same actions over and over, but ideally improving over each time. So the question is, what kind of marketing works at the local level that isn't intensely difficult or expensive? We all want to know. Okay. You want it to be easy, right? You want it to work, right? You want it to not break the budget. Everybody want that? Just bob your head with me. We all want that. Okay. Wouldn't it be better if you just knew? If you had a system that you knew just worked in the background to automatically generate new guests for each of your locations and would not require a large team to manage or execute it. Does that sound right? Does everybody want that? Really easy marketing? And what do you think, Karen, John? You guys want easy marketing? I know CJ wants it. Okay. This is where the pain sets in, Les and Pedro. Okay. There are too many ways to market. So how do you know which one works? Okay. You're probably thinking, I don't have the manpower and hours it takes to do all this work. And you're probably thinking, I don't have a big budget. Okay. Well, this is why we like digital marketing, because it's measurable, it's scalable, it's nimble, and there's tools to help us do it. Okay. And that is exactly why we put together this webinar, because we want to help you figure it out. Okay. Now, there's one important thing here to realize before we get into these strategies. So we're going to go deep. Okay. All of the journeys that a customer can take happen in one of two ways. And I'd ask you if you know what they are, but they're on the screen. Okay. We try to give away the answer sometimes here before we get to them. Okay. There are two ways the customer finds a way to you. There is on their own, which is known as customer led, meaning they started the journey on their own. And then there's inception. And this is when you start the journey for them. Okay. And when you understand this, that every single customer journey from online to offline is either started by them or you, it's going to help you optimize for both of these journeys. Right, guys?
Absolutely.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Okay, now these things require marketing, and we're going to show you how to ensure both of those pass today. Okay, so here's how this webinar works. Okay, everybody's ready? We got our pens out. We're going to take some screenshots and write these down. We're going to walk you through the playbooks for each of these common scenarios. These are scenarios that happen at every multi-unit restaurant. Okay, some single unit. We're going to walk you through these three scenarios, and we're going to show you an easy to implement marketing system for each one. We'll talk about how to ensure the customer journey and what is the solution that you need to have a positive effect. We're going to show you we're going to show you an effective and inexpensive, wow, that's a tongue twister, an effective and inexpensive way to easily institute scalable local marketing that you can measure that does not require a team of monkeys to manage. All right, who's ready to kick this off?
Let's go.
Okay, we are asking you guys a question. You can put your hand up in Zoom. You can say yes in the chat. You can bob your head on the screen, but are you ready to kick this off? Les says yes. Pedro says yes. We got lots of hands going up. All right, guys, let's get into this. Okay, let's start with optimizing the journey for every single location. Now, how do you do that? Okay, there are two main tactics to master. You want to write this down. It's my boy Donald Burns would say hashtag write this down. Okay, there's a pause in there because there's a curse word, but there's two main tactics to master. Okay, listings management and organic social media. So let's rip into what these mean. Okay, we're going to start with listings management. Okay, you need to manage not all just the points of entry to the customer journey, but all the points along the customer journey. And that's kind of what Avi was talking about before. Managing your listings is a huge part of that, because no matter what, at some point in the journey, a guest needs to know your address for directions. They need to know your hours of operation. They need to know what's on your menu. They need all this information. Okay. How else would Google and Yelp and Foursquare have the data the customer needs if you do not input that data into these networks on your own? Okay. Same thing happens with Siri and Alexa, all right, and Apple Maps and Waze. Okay. People who go to the internet or use smart devices, right, to figure out where to get their next meal, they have high intent. Phone is in hand. You know what else is also in hand? The wallet. Okay. They are ready. They are hungry, and you need a perfect system that can not only catch them, but guide them seamlessly through that journey. Okay. Listings management, guys, it is a lot of work, especially when you have lots and lots of locations, all that information, all those networks, those apps, those maps, right? Those search engines, the review sites. It's important to update, and it is a pain. Okay. But Avi, can you please tell us how Marquee can make that a whole lot easier?
Absolutely. So again, more locations, more problems, but even single unit operators feel these pains too, right? It's across the board restaurant problem. So we take all of your manual updates and we automate every step of the way. If you're using one of our point of sale integrations from Toast, Revel, Square, Upserve, Clover, Partech, Brink, we're pulling your menu data directly from your point of sale, removing that step from the process and publishing this information everywhere consumers are searching. Consumers shouldn't show up to your door and see a piece of paper saying you're closed at 3 today to turn around and leave that bad Yelp or Google review on the drive home, right? That is not the experience you want your customers to have. Expectation setting is a crucial part of this customer journey. So through our integrations and automation, it's as simple as updating your cloud-based point of sale, dealing with our support team, jumping in our dashboard, whatever works best for you. You make one single update and it will populate everywhere consumers are searching via our APIs.
That certainly makes it sound easy, and we did promise easy, right? Awesome. Well, guys, that's not all of it here. Okay. The other thing that you need to do, again, we're talking about ensuring the customer journey here, is you need to be updating organic social media. Okay. Because consumers go to Instagram and they go to Facebook to see what your food looks like. Okay. They want to know what your restaurant looks like, and they want to know what other customers are saying about your business. Okay. Organic social media happens lower in the funnel, meaning they've already touched your brand somewhere else before they get to your Instagram account. Okay. But it ensures the customer journey. Okay. It's important that your food, your events, your culture, it needs to be represented and it needs to be current. Okay. It needs to validate the person's decision to dine with you. Okay. It is the ultimate reference check. Okay. Now here's the thing. Everybody here is going to agree with me. Updating social media every day and knowing what to post next. Is that a lot of work? Is it a lot of work to maintain your social media for a restaurant? Okay. It's a lot of creative. And remember, again, we're talking about optimizing the customer journey for every single location. That's right, CJ. Okay. Andrew, how can Targetable make this part easier?
Well, the easiest way is to, first of all, turn up and have a strategy. I know it sounds kind of weird, but basically have a strategy, be there, be present, but basically don't carpet bomb, be very targeted in the particular messages, how you're actually going to get this all put out there across each of the channels. It's not just Facebook, it's Instagram. Quick heads up, if you are not on Instagram, be on Instagram. I repeat that, be on Instagram, okay? Very important. Don't rule out platforms like Pinterest. You'd be amazed. Food is the #2 group on Pinterest. So make sure that you've got a good capability out there on social media, which means plan it all out. If you don't want to do this or don't have the resources, what we can do on our platform, we can actually do it all for you. Take all of your assets, actually schedule it out, make sure it's all paced out and in the right target and the target demographics of people that we're actually looking to get. But the idea is put it in place, schedule it out, measure it, and basic advice, but do more of what works and do less of what doesn't. It's not rocket science.
I talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's move into our second scenario. So we just covered the first one. Okay. Here's the next one is, how do you help a store struggling to acquire more guests? You got a store that's like, again, I talked about the restaurant Hoboken that's like hurting. Okay. Let me ask you this question. Is there anything more frustrating than when you have some stores that do really well and others that just can't seem to get in gear? I know that's frustrating. Okay. What do you do to help that one or those couple locations who need a little extra help, a little extra love, or specific solutions that just posting to social media, and adding LTO doesn't solve? Okay. There are two main tactics. And again, they're already on the screen, so you should know what they are and you should have screenshot this. Okay. But there are two main tactics to master, and you're about to start seeing a pattern here. Okay. Which is good because we promised you an easy to implement system. Okay, so the two tactics for acquiring new guests for any store, even the ones that are struggling, is listings management and paid social media. Okay, now the #1 way, and this is the truth, the #1 way people discover new restaurants is through online search. Okay, how do you affect local search? AKA somebody's like, best pizza near me. How do you make sure that your restaurant comes there? Okay. What do people do when they get hungry for something, or in case my 5-year-old needs hold on, why is somebody trying to call me right now? Okay. So, right. So what do people do when they get hungry or something, right? In case my 5-year-old is in the other room, okay, he needs nuggets, okay? We go to Google or Yelp or Yahoo and we search best chicken nuggets near me, okay? And 2 out of 3 restaurant searches are unbranded, meaning when people are hungry looking for what they crave, they don't search for the name of the restaurant. They search for the thing they want to eat, okay? They're searching for what they crave, not the name of the restaurant, okay? Now, look at this example on screen. This is not doctored. This is a real screenshot. Clearly, Wendy's gets it. But what about McDonald's and Burger King? They both have locations near me, okay? So how can your brand come up at the top of relevant local searches in that moment when you should be the relevant answer? Okay, now you can pay somebody to do a bunch of SEO black magic to your website. Okay, you can buy a bunch of expensive Google ads and hope you beat out Grubhub and DoorDash with their massive budgets. Or what you really should be doing, right, is listings management. Okay, once the customer has already chosen what they want to eat, they've already decided what they're hungry for: wings, pizza, acai bowl, salads, who knows? Okay, they go to Google or Yelp and to find it. Now, how do you intercept the ball? Okay, you have to make sure that those search sites, those apps, those maps, they have all the information they need to know about your brand and push you to the top of search results. Okay, you don't know how they're searching for you or where they're searching for you, but you need to make sure that Google knows that you have gluten-free bagels, okay? And the easiest, the fastest way, the best way, again, it is listings management. It is confirming to these sites, what are your hours of operation, what's on your menu, and all that other stuff. Now, Avi, I know you've got a great example for us, so can you please tell us about Joe's Bagel and Grill?
Absolutely, and thank you, Rev. Also, I think Jim Gaffigan said it best. The best burger is the one closest to me. And so, again, more important than ever, right? Proximity matters. Joe's Bagel and Grill, client of ours, they've been with us for coming up on a year now, franchise situation. And so, again, you start getting brand fragmentation, right? Everyone's kind of listed differently. You have inconsistent names, you have inconsistent menus, inconsistent branding. Started working with us from a corporate level with multiple operators, getting approval for any changes that need to be made. From the corporate level down, we started to ensure that every piece of structured information is being displayed correctly and consistently. This is both from a brand name perspective and a categorical perspective. When you have multiple locations, you can now take those 2 items and you start to see extreme growth when you can get both of those consistent across the board. Exponential growth is the word I wanted to use. So between their 880 listings and 83 menu items, they're dealing with over 73,000 data points when they make their weekly specials and their monthly menu updates. That's too much information for a human to handle. In the past 10 months since Marquee helped clean up and manage these data points, we have seen more than a 400% increase in discovery-based searches and a 250% increase in direct searches, right? Discovery is that bagel near me, bagel by the beach, bagel in the zip code, lunch in the zip code, right? Direct, Joe's Bagels menus, Joe's Bagels hours. This is where every restaurant wants to be from a discovery-based perspective.
That is awesome, man. That is super, super powerful. Super powerful. Okay. So guys, that covers the customer-led journey, right? But let's talk about Inception. Okay. This is where you start the journey for a person. And most people kind of don't get this until we go through this story. And then like, it's totally clear. How do you start the journey for a customer? Okay. How do you get someone to choose your restaurant before they end up in the roulette of search results or worse, third-party delivery marketplace? Okay. Imagine the scenario. Okay, it's 11:55 a.m. People just got out of a meeting or a Zoom call with their boss. It's almost lunchtime. And what do? Okay, they pick up their phone and they quickly scroll through Instagram or Facebook to check notifications or see what their friends are up to. Okay, they have not yet decided what they want for lunch. Okay, the hunger pangs and the cravings haven't kicked in, but they will soon. Okay. And when that happens, what do? We just said they're going to go to Google and search for best pizza near me or, whatever they're craving. Okay. Or worse, they're going to open up that third-party delivery app to do the same thing. Okay. Now, what if your restaurant could be right there? What if your restaurant, your brand, your food hit their radar before they decided what they wanted to eat, before they had a craving, and before they searched on Yelp or DoorDash? What if you could incept their craving and purchase? Guys, would that be awesome? I think that would be awesome. Okay. Well, here's the thing. It is awesome and you can do it, because what were they doing right before they started searching on Google or Yelp or DoorDash? They were on social media. You can get your brand inserted right there in the middle of the scroll at that very moment. And how do you do it? You do it with ads. You do that with ads on Facebook and Instagram, and that is how you start the journey for the customer. Okay. Now, Avi, crazy when we were putting this webinar together, you got to tell these guys a story about Mike's Burgers.
Muted. Okay. So Inception works. I was making lunch plans with my mom about a month ago. Great son, I know. And we live about an hour apart. And so we put some research into this, right? Like, where are we going to go for lunch? We don't get to meet all the time. Let's go somewhere awesome. And so I immediately go into search mode, and I'm looking up burgers in 11572, lunch in Nassau County, and I'm in deep, and it's 30 minutes in. I pick my couple places, and I call my mom and I say, hey, I've got XYZ to go to. What do you think? She goes, well, I was on Facebook like an hour ago, and I saw this ad for Mike's Burgers, which is kosher and pretty close to me. What do you think? And just like that, everything I did didn't matter, because she saw this ad that was perfect for what she was looking for, when she was looking for it. And she's my mom, so I wasn't going to say no anyway. But it was perfect. And this is Inception at its finest. So we are marketable.
100%. Now, starting the journey for a customer is super important because it works. We literally just gave you an example, and it's probably happened to you too. And Facebook and Instagram ads are clearly the vehicle, but how do we make it super easy? Andrew, can you please tell us how Targetable can make this super easy?
So the way to make this very, very easy is to actually basically put your brand out here. Here's a great example of the work that we've done with Sweetberry. And you can see that the brand is very compelling. That is going to pop. It's going to appear very clearly in your feed if you're on Facebook or Instagram. Actually, pops a little more on Instagram. Just saying, if you hadn't already heard the Instagram message. But the beauty of this is you're taking your brand experience and making sure that it's clear, and it's very, very enticing. It's visual. And you've got clear actions on what to do next. So you can see on this one, click in, see the menu, and drive you over to the website. But the more important thing is you're actually making sure that you've got that brand impression out there, and you can do that on a very cost-effective basis. So we're kickstarting that journey. The way we do that is in a hyper-local, geo-targeted basis in and around the locations, and we can do all sorts of other brand advertising, but we can do this on a very cost-effective basis. $5, $10 per day, as much as 20 per day in some of the more dense areas. But it's very, very cost effective to do this, but you've got to start with a great experience. Someone's got to engage with the brand, and it starts there. It looks like I need a Sweetberry this afternoon, just looking at that again.
Awesome. I have a phone call with Desi tomorrow morning, but it's Sweetberry.
Yeah, awesome. Get that my way.
Awesome. All right, guys. So now you know how to perfect the customer journey. Okay. You know how to help all of your stores acquire new guests. Let's move to scenario number 3. Okay. How do you successfully market the opening of a new store? Well, guess what? If you're already doing what we've talked about, then you are actually already optimizing to solve the issue, because you need listings management and paid social media. Like I said, you're going to see a pattern here. Okay. But what is different about this scenario? Why can we just tell you to do it and it'll be different? Well, let's walk through it. Okay. Think about you're opening a new store. Okay. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of your dollars have been spent on building out the perfect restaurant. Okay. Your marketing department is in full force, dedicating time and effort to the new opening. You got a PR or creative agency or helping you with marketing materials, media relations, influencer marketing. Perhaps it's even such a big opening that you've engaged with on and offline advertising like Facebook ads, okay, PPC, radio spots. This is a big deal. You spent a lot of money. Let's go, right? And then someone hears that new sandwich shop in town that everybody's talking about. Okay, so what do they do? What do they do once they found out about your new restaurant? They hop over to their favorite search engine or their voice assistant and they ask, new sandwich place open now with quinoa bowls, okay? But the answer they get is not your restaurant. How does all that money you spent feel now? Feels kind of crappy, right? Because you didn't ensure the customer journey. You need to have all of your listings in order before the doors open to ensure the customer journey. I'm going to say that again. You need to have all of your listings on all the sites in order before the doors open to ensure that customer journey. You want to make sure that all the information the consumer needs to make it to your dining room or to place an order online is already loaded into Google. It's already on Yelp and Facebook and Foursquare. You got to prevent holes in your marketing before the store is open. You got to be discoverable, right, Avi?
Absolutely. And, it's one of these things where when we have clients, whether they're going from one location to two, 17 to 18, or 34 to 40, we are on that new store opening checklist because you need to be listed at least 2 weeks before a new store opening to even have a shot at being found for any sort of indexing, or worse, updating your opening hours and realizing, oh my God, I don't even own the listings. I can't even make an update. And now I have to focus on social media. It's we've seen it all. You want to have it taken care of.
You could be opening a new Burger King location, right? And somebody searches Burger King near me and get recommended to McDonald's. It absolutely can happen, right? You want to make sure that doesn't happen.
I was tracking Van Leeuwen opened up a location in Houston, and I moved to Texas from Brooklyn, and I needed Van Leeuwen, and I could not. I followed them on every way you could follow them. I could not find out what day and time in April this new store was opening until I got a story on Instagram that morning. And Ben Van Leeuwen got an email later that day from me, but that's regardless. It needs to be on your checklist.
God bless. Okay, now, how do you drive attention to that store? Okay, how do you make sure the place is packed upon opening? How do you successfully guarantee that the store is going to be busy after you've done all that work? Okay, you've got to drive local awareness. And to do that, you want to be using social ads because social ads are cheap. Social ads have very intense local targeting. You can target on interests. You can target lookalikes. You can even target exact people like your lapsed guests, okay? And that is why restaurant brands absolutely love social ads because they're cheap, they're scalable, and they're target, and you can get intense in the targeting. Now, Andrew, this is an incredible story. We've told this a million times. I will continue to tell it because it's unbelievable. Can you please share with us what Mo Bettas did to crush their new store opening using social ads?
Well, you mean a photo doesn't do it?
Well, some people like storytelling.
There you go. Okay, we'll go the storytelling route. There we go. So the fun part about this one, I'm going to give you a little bit more color here. So first of all, this store location is in Amon, Idaho. Now, before you quickly go to Wikipedia and figure out where Amon, Idaho is, or check it out on Google Maps, it's in the Greater Idaho Falls area. Now, the population of the Greater Idaho Falls area is 140,000 people or so, and we were asked a week before store launch. Now, by the way, that's too tight. I would normally want to see 2 weeks, and I'm all over that. I'm all over the same thing with Avi here, but and that's just assuming you got your listing management's all tight. But the challenge we were given here was to actually, okay, let's get people to a VIP event. Let's fill it up. Let's get the brand out there. Now, the nearest Mo Bettas is a 3-hour drive away in Utah. So there was zero brand presence, zero knowledge of this particular brand in this area. And we had to establish brand overnight. We had to attach to the quickest possible population draw we can find. And this is why Facebook, Instagram, and other platforms work beautifully because they know everything about you. Trust me, they know everything about you and they can reach you very, very easily. And it is a very cost-effective way to do that. Now, in combination, we put together some cool offers to get people there to be there for a VIP event. But here's the interesting thing that we did, and I want you to really pay attention to this. We could have just run ads to see who turned up. We decided not to do that. We actually ran an ad, made sure that we captured the email address, and we got over 3,500 valid email addresses. So that is literally well over 2% of the, 2 to 3% of the entire population of the Greater Idaho Falls region. Oh, actually, it was closer to 2,800 of those went into them as new loyalty members on sign up as well. So not only did we place an ad, we got them to take action, we got the email, and we got the journey all the way into the loyalty system. So now I can go and advertise and touch them on a lot cheaper basis downstream without having to hit them on an ad. So it's a fraction. You're talking, 5 cents per touch versus 50 cents or $1 once you can get there. We did have massive engagement, and we now have a little, we sort of like, okay, can we beat this next time? But what I'm going to tell you and show you that this was about $1,000 in ad spend to get this result. Now, the way, if you've been tracking all the way that all the iOS 14 and 15 and other changes are now, they've shortened up the attribution window. It's getting harder and harder to get visibility on my return on ad spend. But we had a dirty little trick up our sleeve because we knew that it was sitting over in a loyalty system, and we knew all of the people that came across because we tracked them and we knew exactly who they were. They spent a little under $50,000 in the next 30 days. So for about $1,000 worth of spend, literally turned up, joined, became a part of the market, got a significant percentage of the population and got them to spend $50,000 for $1,000 worth of ad spend. Does anybody like to debate me on whether you think advertising is actually social advertising is cost effective?
I don't know another way to get 50 times ROAS. So that sounds unbelievable. Guys, so this is why I wanted Andrew to share the story with you, because they've been able to do this for a number of brands. It wasn't like a one-time thing. You know what I mean? You can target very, very intensely and local and drive adoption into multiple systems, your loyalty, your CRM, and drive purchases with social ads. And Targetable makes that super easy. It's awesome. Awesome. Okay, guys, how are we feeling about how we learned? Everybody feeling good? Everybody thinking they might know how to generate some new guests now? Can you put your hand up? CJ's like, yes, I'm in. Okay, listen, here's what we went through today. The question was, how do you optimize the customer journey for every single location, Pedro, with listings management and organic social media? Okay. Question was, how do you help a store that's struggling to acquire new guests? Listings management and paid social. Okay. And the last one was, how do you successfully market the opening of a new store? Listings management and paid social. The idea, right? We said we want to give you a scalable system. There's a couple of moves that you make. You can ensure a lot of the customer journey, a lot of your acquisition. Now, it is really important that we all realize something incredibly important here. Okay. Every one of your customers, and likely you too, has one of these, and it is in our hands all of the time. Okay. I read a stat yesterday that said we touch our phones twice a minute. Okay. Twice a minute. I talked to a friend of mine last night that said they were on TikTok for 7 hours. Okay. Yowza. Okay. These are in our hands all the time. And we're even on them when we're in your store. Okay. And we're using them, we're outside your store. And it is your job as a marketer or an owner, okay, to meet them at every single moment you control when they are using that phone. Okay. What do all of these scenarios have in common? Okay. Making sure you have your customer journey ready to handle each and every customer in each and every journey and start that journey for as many people as possible. Okay. You do this through listings management, organic, and paid social. There are 3 systems here that will do a lot for you. Okay. It's gonna turn those clicks into hamburgers or dollars, depending on what's more important to you. I like the hamburger. Okay. Now, here's the thing, guys. We promised you that by the end of the webinar, you would have an effective and inexpensive way to easily institute a scalable acquisition marketing program. This strategy, it's going to work to generate more guests for each of your locations, and it will not require a large team to manage or execute it. I think we get there. Did we get there? You guys think we get there? Avi, Andrew, I think we got there, right? Everybody here, you're way more equipped, okay? I'm sure, though, that you guys have some questions, and I can already see questions coming in. Les, I know you got a big question you want to ask. So please go over into the Q&A and pop your questions into there, right? We have a couple other things we want to talk about, especially that special gift that I promised, and then we're going to answer all those questions, okay? Now, again, you have questions, keep putting them in the Q&A. We'll get to those. As far as the replay of this presentation, because we went fast, I said we would. Once we get this video of the webinar uploaded, we're going to send you an email so that you can watch the replay. You can go back through these scenarios and these strategies so that you can implement them. And then you get all the materials. That sound good? Sound good, everybody? All right, keep those questions coming in the Q&A. We'll get to those in just a second. All right, now before we answer your questions, I got a question. Okay, we just spent about 40 minutes together. I think it's been a good experience. We had a lot of fun. We taught you a whole bunch of cool new stuff. I know we went super fast. We threw a lot of you. There's a bunch of questions coming in. We promised that you would that you would discover the easy to implement marketing system that automatically generates new guests. Now, everybody, I know a way to make this much, much easier, and you probably already know what it is, but I want your permission, okay? Are you okay if I take a minute to go deep on something that would make this a lot easier? Is that okay? Can I go deep on something that's going to make it easier? You can put your hand up. You can bob your head at the screen. I can't see that. You can say yes in the chat, but I want to make sure that I have your permission to go deep. Okay. Les says yes. I see Jay's hand went up. Got a couple other hands going up here. I'm not going to move forward. Jay is all about it. Leslie wants to see it. Pedro wants to see it. Okay. I don't like to assume I have permission. I want to get permission. Okay. As always, you guys, I believe in tech that can accelerate your business. And that is why I talk about the ones that work. Okay. You should check out what happens when you combine Marquee with Targetable. Okay. Marquee is going to optimize your locations, all of them, every single one for local search and make it easy to manage all of your reviews. Okay. You can have multiple levels of access. So a GM or a store manager can manage on their own, or you can group locations and put them all together once. It's pretty cool. It's really super easy. And you can spend thousands of dollars on Google ads and all kinds of on-site SEO, and neither of which are bad. Okay. But why not just make organic local search so much easier and ensure that customer journey? Okay. Now Targetable, right? It's going to make it easy for you to create Facebook and Instagram ads that help you target locals to place your order with you, like the Mobetta story. Okay. You turn it on. It takes a few minutes a week to manage. And voila, you got ads targeting locals all over the time, bringing them right to your online ordering or right to your dining room. Okay. Plus, Targetable can also manage all of your organic social media, which helps to ensure the customer journey. Okay. When you have these two solutions together, this is the easy to implement marketing system that automatically generates new guests. And so with that, guys, I'm going to launch a quick poll here. Okay. And I simply want to know is, do you want to learn more about Marquee and Targetable? Okay. And there's 3 ways to answer this question. You go, yeah, I want to learn more. I want to know more about this easy system. What does this look like? Okay. You could be like, time is not right for me. I'm going to take the slow road. Okay. You could also say that you have a really, you're using a marketing agency. There's complexity here. You have a team on board that's helping you with this kind of stuff. Those are the answers. But I'm asking, right? Do you want to optimize that customer journey for every single location? Would you be interested in learning how to help that store struggling to acquire new guests? Do you want to know more about how Targetable did this marketing for the opening of a new store, or what Marquee did for Joe's Bagels and Grill, right? It's a simple question is, do you simply want to learn more? And if you say yes, if you say, yeah, I want to learn more, we're going to get you in touch with somebody at either company, and you can ask any questions, anything that you want to need to know, they're going to answer. All right, Avi, you first. Can you guess what the number one answer here is?
Want the easy system.
I was not worried that you would get that one wrong. I did not think that was going to be an incorrect answer from you. Okay. Almost there's been nobody here that has yet to say they want to take the slow road, and not a single person that says they have a marketing agency. Now, do not be afraid to answer with those if that is truly represented. But if you just want to ask a couple of questions, you just want to learn more about either of these solutions and how they can help you build the system, click the yes button. We'll put you in touch with somebody. You can ask all the questions you want to ask. What do you think, Andrew? You think we're going to get any slow orders here?
I think so.
People that come to these webinars are usually not slow roaders. We do get some marketing agency people. We usually get the yes buttons. All right, guys, this is your last chance to answer. All right, if you happen to be watching the replay, if you're not here with us live today, you're watching the replay and you want to learn more about Marquee and Targetable, reply to any email we sent you about the webinar, any of them, and one of us will get it, and we're happy to jump on the phone, do a demo, answer your questions. All right, not a shocker. 100% of the people that have answered said they want to learn more about this easy system. Guys, we'll get you in touch with somebody at Marquee or Targetable, and you can get all your questions answered. So I'm going to end the poll. Thank you guys for taking part in that. Okay, now moving on. Okay, that free gift that I promised you, if you stayed into the end, here you go. You are getting an ebook that I wrote called Perfecting Your Restaurant Experience in an Online World. It's going to go a little deeper into each of the digital touch points that a customer goes through before, during, and after their meal. Now, I believe there's about 25 touch points. Okay. And this book even has a checklist to help make sure that you take care of each one of those things. It's going to help you ensure the journey. Okay. So again, once the recording of the webinar has been edited and uploaded, likely me is going to send you an email with a link to view it and also be able to download this very awesome book. And of course I wrote it, so I'm going to call it awesome. All right. Everybody's cool with that? All right. So let's rip into some Q&A here. Looks like we got a whole bunch. All right. Number one, Les says he can hear us fine. Thank you, Les. Love that. He wants to know, how does this differ from single platform? So Les, I believe, is asking about Marquee. Avi, do you want to handle that question?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, the end of the day, it's about execution. And so Marquee focuses on API integrations, real-time updates, and automation. Single platform relies for a lot of manual updates as well as the aggregator system. So when you make an hours change, an address change, a phone number update, whatever it might be, that data and information gets sent to the aggregators like Factual, Info Group, and it trickles down sometime between tomorrow and February 2022. You don't know when that change is going to happen. And then the other side, which I'm pretty proud of, as a substantial number of our clients have moved over from single platform, is our support. Our support is here to ensure that you are getting hospitality service from a hospitality industry perspective, and people who are going to be there to respond and take care of you and make sure that all of your issues are taken care of and solved. So we'll be happy to share as well afterwards some testimonials and videos from some clients who have moved over as well.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you also are updating more sites and search and apps and maps and voice assistants than single platform.
We are updating substantially more from a publisher perspective, from a data perspective, as well as constantly building out additional hospitality focused integrations to make your life as easy as possible.
Awesome. Well, the next question is along that lines. It wants to know, does Marquee integrate with Clover? And I would add, if there is other POS that you integrate with, maybe mention it.
So we integrate with Clover, Revel, Upserve, Square, Toast, Partech, Brink, as well as a few additional. The reality is, if you have a point of sale that you are interested in integration with, if they have an API, an open API, or an API that we can gain access to, we will build the integration. We love that. Now, I want to be clear. You do not need a point of sale integration to work with Marquee. Some of our clients who are on PosiTouch or Aloha, we're getting their menu data via Excel, Word docs, however it is, ordering sites, however we can gain access to the information and work with our team to update that. Point of sale is just easier, but Marquee is easier than not having it. So I just wanted to clarify both parts of that.
Awesome. The idea being that you would be able to update your menu and your POS and would automatically push out to Marquee and update all these sites.
That is the ideal scenario. However, if you don't have one that we integrate with, we can work off of spreadsheets, updates, etc.
Awesome. All right. Next question here, Andrew. This one's for you. Is what was the offer that brought in that big response at MoBetta? What was in the ad? What did we tell people they were going to get?
So what we tend to do is, it depends on whether we're doing, in that particular case, it was a brand new location with exactly zero brand recognition and knowledge. So we're actually going to, we had little offers like, buy one, get one free, or, $5 off or similar. And, what we have was, what we tend to do is we, kind of A/B test 3 or 4 different offers to figure out which ones worked. And then we start to dial up the one that's working and dial back the one that's not. We never go with one particular strategy, but they were fairly simple offers. As part of the execution strategy there, it was just to make sure that we wanted to get people in the door. The other metric is to get them coming back again. So, it was obvious to get them into the loyalty system, give them another offer to come back again, and similar. So to keep them in that journey and keep them coming back. I want to give another little tactic just as a quick response is, in another location we launched, similarly for a pizza concept, it was actually near a college location, and we figured giving away free pizza might be a deluge of students. But we crafted a different set of offers there for VIP seating in a very exclusive scenario. We placed $43 worth of social media ads, interposed a simple landing page and an open table widget, captured the loyalty information from that form, and we literally within days had 300 reservations at an average of about 10 cents a piece, a little over, and literally filled up the store for the VIP seatings for the opening 2 weeks.
Pretty awesome. Awesome.
Very, very different strategies depending on location, geography, demographics, etc. Never one size fits all.
Nice. All right. CJ is asking, are the strategies presented exclusive to brick and mortar, or how about virtual brands? And he's pointed out that they are working with Marquee. So you guys want to talk about how this can help with both virtual or brick and mortar?
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, by all means, the floor is yours.
Yeah, let me jump in on that one. So our approach actually works for either virtual brands or brick and mortar. And in fact, there are some tricky nuances around virtual brands, because in some cases, a virtual brand location may actually have 12, 20, 30 virtual brands at the same physical address. It's a little tricky trying to figure out how you navigate that on Facebook, because apparently someone sitting in a cubicle over in California says, hang on, there can't be that many businesses that win that one location. So there are some things that you can do to actually get that done and actually get the location and discovery. The main thing is to make sure you're tying it to the brand and the broader set of programs and discoverability to make sure that you're tying it all through. But this works as well for a virtual brand as it does for a brick and mortar location. The trick with a virtual brand sometimes is that sometimes it's a fraction of the volume, and you've got to figure out how to be, frankly, even more cost effective with your digital advertising on a virtual brand. And on the other side, sometimes your virtual brand has exactly zero presence because it's a new one, but you're in a very crowded location. So you also have to be very targeted on the particular concept and the targeting as well. But over to you, Avi.
No, that makes a ton of sense, right? From the targeting and targetable perspective. For the Marquee side, you want to be normalizing the search behavior for virtual brands. Only being found and listed on the major delivery sites is like taking your brand and not putting it on any delivery sites, right? You are avoiding the searches for delivery near me in Google. You're avoiding the searches for sandwiches near me, lunch near me, right? You want to take your virtual brand and insert it into the normalized consumer behavior when it comes to searches. And that's what we do. Now, there are nuances and ways to go about doing that correctly, right? And you also want to be very strategic. You want to ensure that when you're running a late night grilled cheese ghost kitchen or virtual brand outside of your high-end steakhouse, that it is made clear it is delivery only, right? And that's what we come do to ensure it goes back to that customer expectation setting. So we handle those nuances. We ensure that extra level of expertise when it comes to getting your virtual brands listed. And we will see a 60, 90, 120-day jump in local searches, right? And for us, the way we view it isn't a matter of a guaranteed percentage increase or what page you're found on. It's about being better, right? As long as your virtual brand is found more in month 2 than month 1, we're on the right trajectory. And that's what it all comes down to.
Love that. Pedro is asking what to do with an older clientele that don't use mobile so much. I'll handle this a little bit and then I'll throw it to you, Andrew. But essentially, even if you have guests who really aren't on Google or Yelp, which I find a little harder to believe, right? Or guests that like aren't on Facebook or Instagram. Again, there's a portion of society that isn't. There's actually still a ton of people who are, right? And these systems are being set up to try to capture all the people that are using Google and Yelp and Facebook and Instagram and TripAdvisor and Facebook. And that's still a large pool of people, right? That's still a large pool of people. Andrew,
yeah, Rev, I want to sort of double down on that as well, because when you place advertisements on something like Facebook, it's not only a mobile device that's being sent to. So you'd be surprised, in one of my prior businesses, about 70% of my 2 million registered customers were in the 45 to 75-year-old demographic and were mostly browser-based execution. And they still will get their recommendations via Facebook on a browser-based desktop. So this is not a mobile-only thing. And this is an important game to play here. And you would be staggered how many people in the older demographic. And I absolutely qualify. I'm like, I still sneak in to be a boomer. And I absolutely have both desktop and mobile.
And I would actually go in and even say, just from our perspective, there's a reason we publish on MapQuest still, right?
Right.
You never know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Search, you need to be everywhere consumers are searching. You don't know where they are. You do know they're either on a mobile phone or a desktop or an iPad or a Samsung Galaxy, and you know that they're online somewhere. So you just got to be everywhere, and you'll get them.
I know we're coming up on the top of that here. We're going to some speed round questions here. Okay. This one's for you, Avi. Does Marquee work with Speed Solution POS from Canada?
So not currently, but again, if there's API access, if you connect us with a rep, whoever we need to, we will build it out. We typically have a 1 to 2 week turnaround on things like that. And again, you don't need the integration for this to work for you efficiently.
Okay, next question. Can Marquee transfer over single platform data?
So it depends on the situation. It's not that we're pulling directly from single platform. If you still have your menu page live, we will pull all of your menu information directly from that current page, and then we'll have everything we need to go live, and you can make updates through our dashboard or our support team or your point of sale if we're connected moving forward.
Awesome.
And again, point of sale is only for menu data.
Yep. All right. Last question. I'm gonna reframe how it's asked a little bit here, but this one's for Andrew. It says, does Targetable design and market the loyalty program? They don't, but the key here is that they can drive people into whatever loyalty program you're using. You want to talk about that, Andrew?
Yeah, I think that's the key here, Rev, which is we're trying to drive the guest as far down the customer journey as we can, and our desirable state is to get it into the loyalty program. Many of the platforms and guest relationship management applications have loyalty programs, but here's the interesting thing. Even if you don't have a loyalty program, we can still capture the email, and then you can go push it into MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever else anyway. So independent of whether you can do this, we can kind of put a proxy together that will get you there anyway.
Awesome. All right. Well, it looks like we have ripped through quite a lot of questions here. And if nobody else has any, again, I said we'd be about an hour. We're going to wrap it up here. If you're watching the replay or you're watching this live and you have a question later, or you want to get in touch with somebody, reply to any email any one of us sent you and ask your questions, and we'll get on the phone with you. So other than that, Andrew, thank you so much. Avi, thank you so much. Everybody that's still on the webinar, there's a whole bunch of you, Carlos and CJ and Jay and Jimmy and Karen and Pedro and Ray and Les. Thank you for showing up. We hope this was super helpful. CJ, you're very welcome, guys. I want to thank you, and please make it a great tasty day.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everyone joining.